it's not abandonment issues, but I am an emotional suppressor to the point where I don't think I have them. As I get older, I'm thinking maybe they're there somewhere. I just don't acknowledge them as much. You're thinking we could tie that to...
Of course. I can come to your house. I don't even have to talk to you. If I came to your house right now and I said, open your refrigerator, open your cabinets, and I look at the type of food that you have, I can analyze what you probably went through as a child.
Wow.
Correct. But the benefits, of course, increase libido, increase vaginal secretions, slippery slope type of thing for the woman, got that going on. And it decreases vaginal dryness. Those are some things I personally noticed. And arousal as well, easier to get aroused. And some people like, the Hennessy do that for me. That's what they tell me. But let me tell you, over time, that Hennessy, those liquors, all that sugar actually creates vaginal dryness over time. So we're talking about, and I'm not saying one drink is going to do it. Go home, I want you to look in your eye. If you pull your eyelids down and you know this yellowing at the bottom of the white, the sclera of the eye, that's a sign of waste in the colon. We've been taught how to pair wine and cheese and all these things, but we're not taught how to pair our foods. You can't just eat everything together. That's why we get the itis, right? Inflammation of the digestive system. You don't want to do that. You should not have a sluggish feeling after eating. So pairing food correctly. Protein should be eaten with low starch, non-starch vegetables. Carbohydrates can be eaten in small amounts with protein, but mostly with low starch, non-starch vegetables. Fats need to be eaten with leafy greens for optimal digestion.
Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast. We find dope people that did dope stuff. Today is no different. We have the Queen Vegan, okay? I am surviving vegan. That name is so infectious.
It is.
How'd you come up with it?
Well, we had a post that went viral on Facebook, and I said, when I create this Instagram, I want our name to be a statement, right? And at the time, it was not as big as it is now, the vegan movement.
How long ago?
This was 2017.
Gotcha.
It wasn't as many vegan restaurants. There was no Beyond Meat. There was no Impossible. So you had to create everything yourself. Like we used to create bread from scratch, like literally bread from scratch. So I said, I'm surviving this lifestyle. So then I was like, I am surviving vegan. And I wanted it to be a statement at the time. So that's how we came up with that. Got
it. So how do you introduce yourself? Like if someone says, hey, I'm David. How do you introduce yourself?
I'm the #1 vegan transformation queen, Arisha of I Am Surviving Vegan. How are you today, David?
Do you introduce yourself as I Am Surviving Vegan as your name?
Co-founder, no, Goddess Arisha.
Okay. Goddess Arisha.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because people are like, yo, it's sleep. Sleep is for, no, my name's David. Just.
That is not it.
Okay.
That's the vegan lady. That's what they call me. That's the vegan lady. I was a vegan.
And you accept it because that's the mark you're leaving on the world.
Correct.
But how long have you been vegan?
About 8 years.
Okay. Does being vegan help you make more money?
1,000%. You see this water is green right here?
I didn't expect that answer.
You see this water is green right here?
Yeah.
Green like the money in my bank account. Okay, so we understand that if you want things to materialize spiritually, you want to manifest things, you need to make sure everything in your environment emulates that. So how can I eat things that are dead if I want to thrive and live a healthy life? Not only on the physical plane, but on the wealth plane, on the abundance plane, on the mental, spiritual, everything around me has to emulate abundance. Everything, nothing is going to be dead around me.
So, there's somebody tell me that, but let's say, for instance, a carrot, it's alive, right? But if you take it from the root, it's still alive? Still alive?
Well, it has live components.
Okay.
It's a live food, right? So, of course, if you take it from the root, from the ground, it is no longer going to be growing. However, there's live components. It's what we call live food, live nutrients versus when you cook it, right? So there's processes of this. Once you take it from the ground, that's one component, but it still has a live substance. When you cook it, some of the nutrients die from cooking, from heating it, right? So it's all about the stages and what your life plan is. But when we eat cattle, or when you eat food that was flesh, right, you're eating skin tissue. You're not eating live components, right? So muscle dies over time when it's lacking oxygen. So when you're eating pig or pork, no judging at all, but I want you to understand.
I do judge people that eat pork.
You judge them? I don't judge them because I was a bacon. I was a bacon, egg, sausage, cheese type of person.
I've never had pork.
Never?
I had like a slice of pepperoni pizza when I was a kid, but other than that, my dad just didn't grow me up.
So what's stopping you from going all the way? Can we?
What? I've tried mad times, and it's just too hard. It's just too hard because, okay.
Here we go.
Okay, so I did I did some like raw cleanses. Mm-hmm. I hate them. It works well, but you can't cook your food and it just doesn't taste good.
Listen, I had raw, I would have agreed with you a year ago, but I just had raw food. If you look at my last post on Instagram, oh my God, chef's kiss.
Every day though?
I had raw Alfredo, raw tacos, raw quesadilla, the best raw food I ever had. Now, everybody can't do that. I can't even do that. But you got to bring your chef. There's no excuses.
Do you eat raw? Are you raw vegan? Or are you regular vegan?
We're transitioning to raw. Thank you to my husband right there. He's completely raw.
You're raw? You do raw vegan? Working. Yeah. Why? Y'all gotta, I need to understand the importance of why. Mm-hmm. Why are we, especially going raw vegan?
Correct.
Give me a why.
So our why is so that we can have nutrient-dense foods, 1,000%. Remember what I said, when you cook the food, you're cooking some of the nutrients. You can be sick on any diet. I want to clarify that. You could be sick on a meat-eating diet, a vegan diet, or a whole foods diet. We want to make sure that when we put things inside of our body, that we are getting the most nutrient-dense food so that our body can live at an optimal level. Right, so that's a part of it. So that's why I have chlorophyll water, right? Chlorophyll not only alkalizes the blood, but it also purifies your entire lymphatic system. It purifies your digestive system. It removes heavy metals from the brain. And all of these toxins over time leads to degenerative lifestyle. So we want to make sure that we can do whatever we can control, that we're doing the right thing for our body. We can't control the environment. We know about chemtrails. We know about all the things that are sprayed on our food. But what we can control is, eating things that possibly are grown through hydroponics versus things that are grown in the soil. So we do our best to make sure every element that we can control, we're doing the best for ourselves. And obviously, it makes me feel better because I've gone through mental health issues. I've been depressed. I've been in the psychiatric ward. And I know it was directly in relation to the food that I was eating, right? Eating a lot of fast food. They have chemicals in the fast food known as phthalates. These things lead to brain disorders. They lead to ADHD. It leads to anxiety. You can look it up. Don't take what I'm saying just for the record, but you can look it up. McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, all of these places. What? Yes, I got to put it out there.
First off, watch your mouth in here, okay? We're not about to be coming at no Chick-fil-A. I ain't gonna say which is delicious.
I understand. I totally get it. It's in no way to leave a distaste in any of these brands' mouths. But what I know is that on my mission and my community expects me to hold people accountable, right? So we can say they have great customer service, which they do. And they provide so many good things to the community, but what about operating at the optimal level? And that's what the Surviving Vegan community, when they hear me speak or they come to an event or they come to a class, they expect us to hold people accountable. And the whole entire, what we call conscious community, that's what we're supposed to be doing. The thought leaders that hold establishments accountable for the things that they're doing. Granted, some people don't even know. Some establishments don't know. Some of them, the managers, some of the executive CEOs maybe don't know what they're doing. But it is up to us to make sure that we're doing the research and we're understanding when things get published in medical journals that we're researching and understanding what is in our food and how it is affecting our Black and brown communities. I gotta hold people accountable, or the whole Surviving Vegan, the legacy can be tarnished.
So you touched on the conscious community.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Can you explain what that is and where it came from?
Right. So the conscious community is a group of people that we like to say operate at a high level, right? It can become very divided, let me put it that way. It can become very divided, but ultimately it's supposed to be a group of people that are making a decision to say, you know what, I want to operate at a high level. I want to...
What is a high level though?
Okay, not eat things that are being pushed upon me, constantly asking questions. Why is this being marketed? Understanding that propaganda is kind of ruling the media, right? So looking at these things and what we say, activating our third eye, looking through our third eye, which is in the center of our head here, our pineal gland, activating that and seeing things for what they really are and having the wool being pulled from over our eyes. That's ultimately what it means.
Right, so and shouts out to the conscious community. Yo, some of them just be too deep. I'm like, yo,
I agree.
Huh?
I can agree. You know, when I first started this journey, we watched videos of some of our brothers. Shout out to Red Pill, Blue Pill, and all of the conscious community leaders. And one of the things that I found is that we were still kind of divided. So with our mission, that's why I say I don't judge people, because coming into veganism, a lot of people feel judged about the things that they eat. Some people just didn't know any better. So I do find in the conscious community, it becomes a problem when you think you've reached this level of awakening that you look down upon others. I've even been there at one time, like, why are you eating that? Looking at my mama like, why are you eating that? I told you that's not good for you. But what I found is that turns people away. Nobody wants to feel judged. So I like to meet people where they are and help them to understand you can make better choices. Whatever that is for you, I want you to do that. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't eat broccoli. If you're vegan, you need to be raw vegan. If you're raw vegan, you need to be alkaline. There's always more to obtain. Like, we understand that. But I don't want anybody to say, oh, surviving vegan made me feel like if I'm eating broccoli, then I'm horrific. We know broccoli is a hybrid. I get it. Broccoli is a hybrid and we want to eat optimal foods. But if a person was just eating steak last week and now they're switching over to cauliflower steak, I'm not going to be the one to make them feel like you didn't do a big step in your journey.
Yeah. So if, let's say for instance, I think our eating choices are going to be based on obviously our preference and what makes us happy, right? So while I was doing my vegan thing, I just wasn't happy. I was just mad. Yeah, I was just like, I don't know. Like, I was like complaining a lot, and you know, like when you get something raw, you look at it and you chew at one of the faces, like, like dang, I want some ranch.
What were you eating?
Broccoli. Now, I did do, shouts out, I got a couple my partners doing cleanses. Dr. Bobby, his cleanse
Oh, Dr. Bobby
is really, it's not easy, but effective nonetheless. D-herbs, I did D-herbs cleanse.
Okay.
Found out I'm just a quitter.
But you know what I love to tell the community about detoxing, when you take the course, before we get into actual food, the first week of the course is about understanding why you're connected to certain foods. Right? So a lot of people find when they're detoxing, a lot of those emotions come up where they feel irritable, they feel agitated.
That was it.
Right. So we can no longer use the foods like carbs to suppress those emotions. So now they're coming up. You're not just detoxing the body, you're detoxing the mind and the spirit as well.
Carbs suppress emotion? Carbs have an effect on your emotions?
Right. So we talk all about different types of food. So let's talk about cravings for a moment. You have sweet cravings. What does that mean? My thing is the body is always talking to you. So if you're a person that's constantly craving sweets, that's tied to emotional trauma. Emotional trauma around depression, emotional trauma around abandonment wounds, attachment wounds, self-nurturing wounds.
From sweet cravings?
Correct. So what does that do when you eat sweets? It causes a dopamine response in the brain. So if you're feeling down, the first thing you do is eat sweets, right? You crave that and it gives you that pick me up, right? So usually when a person is craving these things, over time, they have learned to use these cravings to satisfy an emotional need.
Wow.
And we learn these things through childhood, through television. But once you taste it, it's a whole nother thing, because now you have that dopamine response and you're like, oh, I love it. So now when you have a rough day or a tough day, first thing you do is go into the vending machine and getting some XYZ, whatever it may be. Crunchy cravings, that's a sign of a person that has dealt with a lot of stress. So chewing on something crunchy releases tension in the muscles. So now you have a relief. Correct. So we help people to understand why they're eating it, not just saying, oh, you should not be eating this. I know people look at us on Instagram and it's like, this, and this is why you shouldn't eat this. But once you actually become a student, you're like, okay, I understand why I'm eating it. I said that I was in a psychiatric ward. Throughout my childhood, I experienced a lot of things. And throughout childhood, I used to eat bread every single day, ball it up and eat it. I used to get in trouble for doing that. Me too. That was a sign of depression.
What?
That was a sign of depression. And because
I thought I just loved bread. Yeah, I would like, you ball it up and it just makes it like a dough. It's like pizza bread kind of. You're like, I'm eating pizza.
But guess what? That feeling of crunching down on it, eating it, relieves the stress in the body. So it's a soothing mechanism. We have found unhealthy ways of soothing ourselves emotionally. And that's what's leading to this cycle of generational diseases, as we like to say.
Got it. Why do I love pasta so much?
Same thing. So if it's creamy pasta, it's issues around nurturing, right? So like Alfredo's, maybe you wasn't breastfed as a child, or maybe you dealt with some abandoned wounds from mom or dad, or somebody that was a caregiver in your life.
You know what's crazy?
What's crazy?
Like anything I eat gotta have sauce on it. I love sauce. Yo, what's up with all the laugh? I feel judged. Yo, Joe is judging me like crazy right now. So, and I do have, I don't know if it's emotional or abandonment it's not abandonment issues, but I am an emotional suppressor. I suppress my emotions to the point where I don't think I have them. As I get older, I'm thinking maybe they're there somewhere. I just don't acknowledge them as much.
There's a lot of students
that you're thinking we could tie that to.
Of course, I can come to your house. I don't even have to talk to you. If I came to your house right now and I said, open your refrigerator, open your cabinets, and I look at the type of food that you have, I can analyze what you probably went through as a child.
Wow.
Correct. Right, and that's one way that. Like we say in the conscious community, emotional intelligence. And that's not just about being conscious. I think every parent should know that, because most of our children cannot articulate what they're feeling correctly. So back to the story of me eating bread every day, I was depressed because my mom and dad was going through a divorce that they didn't explain to me. I witnessed a lot of domestic violence, right, in my childhood. And I couldn't articulate that bothered me. And as I became an adult, I still dealt with those things. I suppressed those things, I had more experiences and compounded on each other. And then I ended up in the psychiatric ward in 2013. So if my mom would have known that, hey, this craving could be tied to an emotional instability, we could have got help then. Or they could have talked to me, or maybe I would have got counseling. That's what I do with my children. When I notice they have a week where they're eating a lot of potato chips or asking for potato chips, I'm like, okay, what are you stressed out about? And I try my best to bring it down to their level, to get them to tell me what's going on, extract that information from them. My youngest daughter, well, not now I have another youngest daughter, but my second oldest, she had
How old is she?
She's 5.
Okay.
When she was 4, she had a period where she would just want waffles all day, every day. And I'm like, what is going on? So I started doing some therapeutic work with her, and I started talking to her, and to find out, she said, you know what? I am the youngest at the time daughter, and I feel like I'm not being heard. She always had to shout what she needed. She always felt like, hey, I got to fight for my spot in the family. And I found that out just by noticing she loved to eat pancakes and waffles for like a week straight. She would just eat that. And I started a conversation with her, and it came to find out that was what she was dealing with. So now I can properly help her manage those emotions and not continue to use the food to suppress them.
God, hold on. You let your kids eat waffles and chips and stuff?
Well, I try not to be the food police, right? So, birthday parties and things like that, they do have opportunity to eat it as long as it's vegan.
Oh, God, as long as it's vegan. Gotcha.
Correct.
How old are your kids?
I have a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, 5, 3, and 9 months.
Oh, gotcha. Hey, that 10-year-old, when they go to school now, hey.
And that's one of the things that we've done. We've taken them out of the school system.
Oh, really? Yes. I was about to say, because they friend definitely got some cookies or something for them.
That happens, and they're inching to get in there. So we're working out ways to like balance that, because I don't want them to ever feel like, they were sheltered from certain things or held back from certain things. So that's not good either. Yeah. So I try to do my best to allow them to explore, but make sure that they understand who they are. Right, my children will be the one. We stopped getting invited to outings with our family, because when we would go to non-vegan restaurants, my children would be like, this leads to high blood pressure. You shouldn't be eating that, Grandma. So they stopped inviting us. They don't even invite us anymore. I'm like, okay, I saw y'all went here. Why y'all didn't invite us? Because we don't got time for your children to be telling us. So we do our best to indoctrinate our children with this mindset. Okay,
let's go devil's advocate. On the other side, what are some harmful effects of maybe raising your children to be vegan?
1000% want you to know that you can be unhealthy on any diet. You have to understand how to read the face, eyes, and tongue. Don't just go into this and be like, oh, I'm vegan. We did that when I first went vegan. We were carboholics. We took the meat off, but we kept everything else. We kept the white rice. We kept the bleached white flour. We kept going to places that weren't vegan, just not getting the meat.
I done met some fat vegans, and I don't believe you. It's like, nah, bruh, there ain't no way, because you still You've been on this journey for 3 years now, and ain't no change. I hadn't seen that.
So I went through that, and I started to become anemic because I was not getting the nutrients properly. So I, number one, say you have to realize veganism today has been commercialized, right? So you want to make sure that you're balancing your plate. Protein, carbs, and fat is the foundation. Nutrient dense protein, carbs, and fat. If you don't know anything else, you need to make sure every single day you have a source of protein, a source of carbohydrates, and a source of fat.
What's an example of a fat that you eat?
Avocado. That's the easiest one. Easiest to find. Avocado, chia seeds, flax seeds.
That's fat?
Yeah, those are fat. Correct.
Interesting.
So those are very, very common ones that you can find easily. But then once we get to that point, you may say, hey, like you said, I'm on this diet. I'm still not, I don't even like to say diet because it has diet in it, but I'm on this nutritional plan and I'm still not reaping the benefits. Next thing I want to do is read your face, eyes, and tongue, because through face mapping, we can tell what's going on inside the body, right? David Shands, when you were in your mother's womb, you were one undifferentiated cell. That's still your ancestry. So everything in your body is connected. As you grew in your mother's womb, you grew a head, you grew a leg, you grew arms. So everything is still connected. So when we look at the face, the top of the forehead here is connected to the colon. So if somebody's dealing with a lot of wrinkles or whiteheads or blackheads here, I could say, hey, there's some issues with the colon. You need to increase your insoluble fiber.
Let me see, Joe. Think of a number in your head. How much do you think it would cost for me, a pretty successful entrepreneur, to coach you every single day, to give you all of the game? I'm talking about every day for an entire year, Monday through Friday. I'm on a virtual call teaching you how I've done the things that I've done, and me updating you every single day in real time on all the business moves that I'm making, all the negotiations that I'm in, everything that I'm doing before I actually do it. How much you think? And let's say Monday through Friday, and then on Thursdays we do a Q&A where not only do you get a chance to ask your questions and get them answered, but you get to hear the answer from a whole community, hundreds of other people on a call, and you get their answers that are going to help you too. What do you think? And once or twice a year, get together, free conference that we all get to come to, and you get to meet all these people that you see virtually. How much do you think that would cost every single year? 10,000? Not even close. It would probably be closer to 100,000, because it's just, my time is valuable, and to give you the sauce that's going to help you make millions, I'd have to charge you at least 100,000. But what I've done is created a community where you get the advantage of learning how to become an entrepreneur. You get to network with hundreds of entrepreneurs every single day. You got a community that keeps you inspired and excited. You will read a book club with us every single day. We'll also have an event where we come together once or twice a year for free. We do all of that for $399 for the year. Now, you can also get it at $79 a month, but $400, the price it costs for 2 pairs of Jordans, no tax, of course. You get all of that, $399. Now is the time you join the Morning Meetup. You've been watching the Social Proof Podcast. You've been watching me build my business. You've seen where it started. And if you're just now understanding what's going on with my brand, go ask somebody. I've got receipts of things that I built over the last decade, okay? I am willing to coach you, $399 for the year. Listen, go to themorningmeetup.com or click the link in this video. Let's get back to the episode, but keep in mind, I want to coach you. Let's get started. These wrinkles here?
Correct. Well, that's from expression, right? I'm saying if you had deep wrinkles just there,
okay.
Or a lot of people
I do know somebody who has real, they don't gotta be doing nothing, and they just got deep wrinkles. It's just fatty. I just know, really. No, seriously. It's everybody's different, right? Correct. I just thought that's who they are. But you're saying
it could be tied to some things. Correct.
Like what?
So I would need to see it, but most of the time wrinkles is caused by dehydration or overexposure to certain things. So that may mean that their body is dehydrated and their colon is dehydrated. So, I haven't seen the person, I'm just giving off of what you're telling me. But what I am seeing, a lot of women are dealing with fibroids and cysts, and they're not realizing that those things are starting in childhood. So around the mouth is related to the sex organs. right? So a lot of women that's growing mustaches or growing a beard because of hormonal imbalance, if you started noticing that in childhood, you can start doing a remedy plan, because later in life, that could be a sign that you may deal with fibroids and you may deal with cysts. The cheeks are related to the lungs. So if you're dealing with any hyperpigmentation or any difference in skin texture, dryness, that can mean that there's issues with the lungs. My son, for example, before we were vegan, he always had dry spots around his cheeks. He ended up being on a nebulizer because issues with his lungs, bronchitis and things like that, which we have fully remedied thanks to a vegan lifestyle. But I didn't know that back then. And as I look back, I'm like, wow, the body is always talking to you, but we don't understand how to read it anymore.
Yeah, my baby be coughing. She be coughing a lot.
You want me to tell you what it is?
Yeah. Or she breathe, you can hear like a
okay,
like
so it could be and this is no information I give is meant to replace a licensed physician. I do have to give that disclaimer. But if you're hearing the wheezing, I would want to hear through a stethoscope. But if you're hearing the wheezing, it could be a sign of inflammation in the small little bronchial tubes that are inside of the lungs. So that could be an issue as well. Now, what we work on is reducing things in her diet that causes inflammation. That might clear it up in a week, 2 weeks.
Like what?
Cow's milk. A lot of people are eating high fructose corn syrup through formula feeding. They like to disguise it as corn syrup solids. A lot of that is in the baby formula and the baby food. A lot of synthetic soy is in the baby food as well, which all leads to inflammation. And the inflammation can happen anywhere in the body. So anything that has itis at the end is inflammation.
Say that one more time.
Anything that has itis at the end, so arthritis, right?
It's still inflammation.
Inflammation of a specific part of the body.
Got it. So I do like we do formula feed.
Okay.
How do you replace that?
How old is the baby?
Almost 2, 18 months.
So I wouldn't like take away the formula per se. I would do a weaning process, but I would give her more alkaline foods, right? So this would clear up infection. This would clear up inflammation in the body as well. Shout out to Moon Jug. I would give her this through a syringe, maybe get her used to it at least 3 to 4 times in the morning, and then slowly increasing this. And this tastes so good. This is the one I recommend because it just tastes so good. I would give her
somebody
this
said that about
bottle.
sea moss, and I tasted it.
No, I'm telling you, I am one of those ones. I know I'm the health coach and all that, but I am really big on taste, and I can't eat things that taste like the grass and the dirt. I will do it if I need to, but I can drink this every day. And back to the point, where
you get it from? You have an extra?
I don't know if Grizzy bought something. Grizzy, we'll ask him, but this young man, well watered like no other water that I've drank before.
Take me back to before you were the vegan queen.
Correct.
Right? What caused the change? First, give me was there something going on, or you just woke up one day and, or was it a breakup? You know, when women break up, they cut their hair and go vegan. You know what I mean? And it's just, y'all ain't ever see that?
I used to cut my hair when I used to be going through.
My brother, he's seen it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So for me, actually, I started to ask questions first. Right, what started that was going through the psychiatric ward experience. Thankfully, I was.
And why were you in there?
Because I was going to commit suicide.
Why?
So, as I was saying earlier, things compounding on top of each other. So I have trauma back from childhood, experiencing domestic violence, my parents divorcing, not explaining anything to me, going to school, getting picked on, then becoming a bully. I mean, there were so many things, as I said, over time, compounding on itself, going through breakups in a relationship, not ever getting counseling. All of these things just came to a head when I was maybe about 23 years old. And I just couldn't take it. I wrote a suicide note. I was living in Atlanta at the time, and I got in my car, and I said, I'm going to drive my car for $285. And I was just crying. And I got off on the exit. I can't even tell you what the exit was. I got off. There was a Kroger there. I sat in the Kroger parking lot and I cried. And I said, you know what? Something just said, drive to the hospital. I didn't know what was going to happen. I drove to the hospital, told them how I was feeling. Baker acted me, and I was sent to Peachford Psychiatric Ward here in Atlanta.
Give me all the things that were going on specifically that drove you to that point.
feeling like I was alone was the biggest thing.
You just broke up with somebody at that point?
Well, me and my husband, we've been together for 15 years. And we had, we met in 12th grade. So we've gone through so much. I've hurt him. He's hurt me. Never really understanding how to work through that. Not having my dad in my life. As a child, I was only able to see him 6 days a month, court order. As I say, experiencing domestic violence. I constantly try to suppress that through using drugs. I've used marijuana, of course. I use alcohol to suppress it. And eventually the suppressions wasn't working anymore.
But was it one particular day where it all kind of hit you and it drove you to that point? Or like did the thoughts just kind of creep in slowly?
So the whole reason why I moved to Atlanta was a cry out, but nobody realized it. I was like, I'm going to move to Atlanta and people are going to realize that they miss me. Well, moving to Atlanta further isolated me. I had no one. I was home by myself all the time. And then that allowed me to just sit and replay all the things that happened to me throughout life. And then, yes, one day I was like, I'm done. I'm tired of this. And it was too much. And I understand depression is a heavy thing because it feels like there's a looming dark cloud over you and nothing can lift it. It feels so heavy. And that day, the load was just too heavy. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a letter. I wrote a letter. I left it on my dresser and I got in my car. And thankfully, I understand now as a part of my mission to help other people that's going through that. But that day, I really thought that was going to be my last day. I really did.
You drive to a hospital. And once you start talking about suicide, they take you.
Yeah, they took me in.
Was that experience necessary for you in terms of you being there? Do you remember some points of being there that
I just remember feeling so numb. I was very numb. Even
they
when they
drugs?
told me, any regrets?
Did they give you drugs?
They didn't because I was pregnant at the time. I was pregnant at the time and I did not have to take any drugs. They gave me like prenatal vitamins. And they gave me
you was
some
going to kill yourself and you was pregnant.
Yeah, I was. And going through that stressful experience, I ended up having a miscarriage because of all the cortisol levels. They told me, they didn't want to make me feel bad. Like, no, that had nothing to do with it. But knowing what I know now definitely had everything to do with it. But that's what really started the vegan journey because going through that experience and being in there, thankfully, I didn't have to get put on drugs. But going through that experience, I saw so many women that were on drugs and it didn't look pretty. So I said, in my mind, I was like, what is this? And that started me asking questions. So I spent 4 days there and I came home. I felt a little bit rehabilitated, but overall I started to ask questions and kept asking more questions. What
type of questions?
Why do you look like a zombie when you're on pharmaceuticals? That was one of the questions. Why isn't there adequate health care for women that are going through things? Why do I feel just like a number in this system, right? In that facility, granted, they did what they could, but I didn't feel like, my issues really mattered. I felt like a number, just like another patient. So I started to ask questions about that. I started to ask, what would happen if I was on pharmaceutical drugs? Would that change how I viewed the world? Will that change how I communicated? Because I saw those things happen to women in there. And I was like, I don't want to be like that. So at that point I said, okay, I know, I guess I kind of got scared straight because at that moment I knew that I didn't want to commit suicide anymore, but I still dealt with depression. I'm like, well, why didn't going there eradicate it? Yeah. What is it? And that's what led into veganism. And I didn't decide to go vegan. My husband's the one who said, we need to go vegan.
Listen, if I was going to teach you how to make $1 million, would you give me 10,000? Like if I had a course teach you how to make $1 million a year positive, you're going to make $1 million, would you give me 10,000? Of course you would. It's no brainer, right? So in a calendar year, we make 7 figures with the podcast. But there's 21 things that I extracted from that you're going to need to launch a podcast. But I only got time to give you 3 right now. One is you need a distribution platform. The distribution platform is what you upload your podcast to. That platform sends it to Spotify, Apple, Google Play, so that your supporters can actually listen to your podcast. You're also going to need a microphone. You need a really good microphone so it's crispy audio. And 3, you need an income strategy. This is not necessarily a hobby, unless you're going to make it a hobby. But I can teach you how I made the 7 figures with these 21 things. Now, the good news is you don't have to give me 10,000. My ebook is only $37, okay? So listen, go to podcastebook.com and get the 21 things that you need. And I can explain it in detail, all the things that you need, okay? Podcastebook.com. Let's get to the episode. So it wasn't the food change, like you get sick, you're like, oh, I need to change my food. Mm-hmm. It was more of it seems like more of a consciousness or some sort of...
Correct. That's exactly what it was. So 2013 is when I had the experience in the psychiatric ward. Didn't go vegan immediately. Didn't know what that was. 3 years later, the death of Alton Sterling. I don't know if you remember the I Can't Breathe movement. That made me ask more questions like, hold up, what's going on in this?
What year was that?
2016.
Really?
That was 2016.
It's crazy. It seems like it just happened.
Yeah, it was 2016.
Wow.
That I remember me and my husband, we did a live on Facebook, and we were like, we need some answers. So we started asking questions again, and he found, so much about African history, Black history, things that we didn't know about, that we ruled the world at one time, that we had great civilizations. We were like, why we never knew about this? Then we started to look towards African spiritual systems and found that a lot of priests, they didn't eat meat. Even when I grew up Baptist, I grew up Christian, and then I look at Jesus, he didn't eat meat, right? So, or not didn't eat meat, but he fasted, let me say it that way. He fasted. And I'm like, why do they go through these periods of fasting? That was the next question, right? And then once we realized, hey, you go through these periods of fasting to increase your brain power, to increase your ability to manifest, to increase your connection to God, to increase all these things. We're like, well, hey, we need to be doing this too. And that's when we said we'll go vegan.
I got it. Because most people, they just look at the food, like the isolated food situation. I don't want to eat this because it's bad for you.
Yes, correct.
But you are going through a transformation. You're going through a journey of, I guess, kind of like curiosity. And now it's starting to make sense on the conscious community, because the conscious community asks these questions.
Correct.
And in the mix of the questions of government and systems and where we come from, there's an element of food.
There's a big element of food.
Got it.
Because you are what you eat ultimately, right? And once I started to detox, I was able to take control of my anxiety. I used to wake up and have panic attacks. I used to have panic attacks in my sleep. I stopped having those, right? Once I started to, even with going vegan, I was still having it. But when I added in that element of following the circadian rhythm, wake up in the morning, breaking my fast with a detox instead of loading in on all these carbs and things like that. Once I added in that element of detoxification, weight loss, that's when a lot of things changed. And I said, whoa, this is real. 2017, I had a post go viral of some vegan oxtails I made. Made some vegan oxtails. I made them. They didn't taste good. I'm gonna just be real. They didn't taste good.
The beauty of the internet. They just see it look good, so let's go viral.
It did go viral. But the mac and cheese and everything I made, everything else was good. It was my first time making vegan oxtails. We definitely perfected it now. But that went viral. And I said, you know what? I've been in business before. I'm going to definitely utilize this situation to start a business. And that's how Surviving Vegan got birthed. The very first detox we did, 2017, we had hundreds of people do it. People were coming back telling me, I lost 20 pounds in 10 days. One lady said I came off my high blood pressure medication. One lady said I'm no longer pre-diabetic. I was totally flabbergasted. I'm like, this is doing this for other people. I know what it did for me. When I saw it do that for other people, that's when I said, okay, this is a mission. I'm ready. I'm ready to do it. I want to help as many people as I can. To this day, we've helped 100,000 people lose 1 million pounds.
Wow. We can clap that up. That's good. So you didn't really know the health powers of vegan. It was just, it seemed like the right thing to do based on the information that you're gathering at this point, right?
That's how it started.
Veganism, is that a religion?
It seems like it sometimes.
I think somebody, maybe I was reading on the internet or something like that.
It's not a religion. It's not to my knowledge. It is not a recognized religion. But it seems like it because once you become a vegan, then you got the alkaline vegans who's telling you bad for eating broccoli and cauliflower. Then you got the regular vegans who's telling you, hey, you bad for being alkaline. Who you think you are following this? That doesn't really work. This is for the animals. Then you got raw vegans who's saying all of y'all is messed up. You need to be eating raw vegans. And then you have liquid raw vegans, and then you have breatharians. So,
what? Hold on. First, okay, before we get into the elephant in the room, which that whole breatharian, like,
yes,
you eat breath. I don't know if it's like you're just liquid vegan. What's that?
So, liquid vegan means that you are raw, but all of your meals are liquid. Right, so you either puree it or you blend all of your meals. You only drink.
You puree it. Okay.
Correct.
There are vegans that are raw, but they only eat it in juice form.
Correct.
Every day of their life.
Every day of your life. And I have not evolved to that level yet. I don't know if I'm ever going to be at that level, but there are people that are liquid raw vegans. And the notion behind that is because you want to conserve as much energy as possible. So when you eat whole foods, your body's going to break it down to a liquid to send the energy to the cells anyway. So why don't I just consume it as a liquid so I can help my body conserve energy?
That actually makes sense. Instead of eating 10 carrots, you just juice it.
Juice it or blend it, correct.
Okay, breatharian. Like is
Living off of the breath of air. That is because we know that there are elements that are in the air that are needed for the body to survive. So you breathe in air. You can't do this anywhere. I wouldn't do that in Atlanta. I wouldn't do that in New York. You need to do that in Caribbean spaces where there's good quality air, when you can go around a lot of greenery, you can go in the mountains, you can go in the forest and then practice your breath work, and that would be your meal for the day. So when we went to PR, we made some. No, I'm not. No. It's real.
There's no way, okay? You can't just breathe and that be your meal.
Yeah, that's what they work on, because there's nutrient dense air, right? So
I'm sorry, I gotta Google it. No, keep going.
There's nutrient dense air, and that's why I say where there's a lot of pollution, you can't live that lifestyle. Right, because you have a lot of chemicals in the air as well. You have microplastics in the air, depending on where you live. But if you are in, Caribbean spaces, if you are in, South America, I went to PR and I actually met a breatharian. I met a breatharian in Miami as well who lived in DR 6 months out of the year, and he practiced being a breatharian throughout those 6 months, and he lived purely on breath, and he didn't look malnutrition or anything. And I said, praises to you, brother. But I can't do that.
Breatharian, a person who believes that it is possible through meditation to reach a level of consciousness where one can obtain all sustenance from the air or sunlight.
Correct.
You met they lying.
I've met 2 breatharians through my life. So yeah, they definitely depend on sunlight for their vitamin D, for cholesterol, to release cholesterol, which is the fat that the body makes, the liver makes. So you get your fat source from that. But I personally, I can't do that. I'm not well versed in that one. So, but there are people that are there, right? I don't know if you've ever seen a diagram of a person through evolution where they have the person with the plate versus the person who's only eating the sun, and you're supposed to be totally ascended just by, living off sunlight and, as I said, the air around you. But I don't think I'm going to evolve to that in this lifetime.
Actually, now that I think about it, if we truly believe the mantra that it's like mind over matter, and that's like the ultimate manifestation level. And
that's exactly how they think.
Manifesting nutrients.
They talk different. They talk as a meditation. They're talking like, their words carry a vibration because they know everything is frequency. So it's a whole art. It really is an art. I've met 2, and they are, as I said, woo, goodness to you. But wow. Yeah.
And what are you consider? Are you
plant-based? So when we came up with Surviving Vegan, veganism wasn't what it is today. It wasn't commercialized.
You eat Beyond Meat?
Do I do what?
You eat Beyond Meat?
Oh no, I don't eat Beyond Meat. Now I have eaten it before. So sometimes, as I say, I don't like to be the food police, right? So there has been instances where I've gone to parties and people have tried to be considerate. And they may have had a Beyond sausage or something. Yes, I have indulged in it, but then I know the next day I need to go through on a high fiber detox, right? So it just needs to be balanced.
Was it good?
It was good.
It's delicious.
It was delicious. Okay. I'm not gonna lie.
So that's like your cheat. That's like your cheat.
Yeah, that's a cheat for me. Correct. That's like a cheat for me. I'm not the one to make you feel bad about your choices. I don't do that because my inspiration is to be an inspiration to you so that you can make healthy alternative choices for yourself and your family.
I like your approach. I really do like your approach.
Thank you.
Because talk to your friends, okay? Because they ain't going too hard, man. All right. So somebody said to me, actually last night, I was talking about like something that I'm not doing and I want to do. She said, what you really need is discipline. And I realized that I'm not all that disciplined.
Okay.
So how do I fix that?
All right. So tell me the foods that you crave, your favorite foods.
Well, right now I'm on a journey where I'm not eating sweets. Okay. I'm not eating dessert specifically. Like after every meal, I'll eat a dessert or I'll eat some chocolate or something. I've been off for maybe like 3 weeks or so. So I'm not eating dessert. I am, what What else am I not doing? There's a couple things that I just cut out. Oh, pasta. I just stopped pasta.
Okay.
Because I am in love with pasta.
Okay.
I will leave my wife for some pasta. I'm just playing. But I love pasta. I eat pasta everywhere.
Okay.
So I'm not eating that, but I do crave pasta and I do crave sweets.
Mm-hmm. So then, like I was saying earlier, we want to look in your childhood and look for experiences where either you were dealing with issues around people pleasing, where you had high stress moments.
How does that have anything to do with people pleasing? You gotta explain that to me.
Right. So remember I was talking about eating certain foods. You have learned how to use them to suppress emotions. So when we think about like the holidays coming up, right? Everybody's coming to this party with all their emotional wounds, right? And they're eating all this unhealthy food, which makes them feel good. And then the aura of the holiday event is love, right? So now you have come with your emotional wounds and you suppress them with food surrounded by love. So now the brain is an image associating organ. So when you deal with emotionally traumatic events, when I say traumatic, that means anything that's stressful. People think trauma is just like fighting and things like that. Any stressful event can cause emotional trauma if you don't know how to navigate that scale in that environment. So we have all these people with their emotional traumas coming to an event where there's unhealthy food surrounded by love. The brain is an image associating organ. So now your brain knows you have this emotional trauma and associates the love that you feel with these foods. Wow. So now you have associated love, happiness, the dopamine response with that trauma, but that food takes care of it.
For a minute. And ultimately that leads to health problems. So when we come to people and they're like, hey, go vegan. Oh, I can't do that. I can't let go of my chicken. I can't let go of this. Yes, because it tastes good, but also on a deeper level, it's because of how that food makes them feel. Maybe that's something that their great grandma started them on, every Sunday they ate that. So that chicken represents their great grandma and that feeling that great grandma gave them. So every time they bite that chicken, they might not think about their great grandma, but they get that comforting feeling. Right. Got it.
Certain emotions, when I go to my holiday dinners with my family, I look at everybody's plate. And without my mom, my auntie, my grandma, even myself voicing or articulating my problems, I can see on your plate what you're dealing with. Right. So sweets.
That's crazy.
Right. So like sweets is usually depression, low self-esteem, issues around self-worth. And that can be broken down into different things. Maybe you were bullied as a child. Maybe you didn't get the praises from your parents that you wanted, right? So what does that do? Over time, that could lead to you being inconsistent, right? But I'll have to go deeper into the profile. But the top layer of it is low self-worth, low self-esteem, depression for sweets, for the pastas, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. And it always starts in childhood. And
I never looked at it like that.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people say that when they
Do you have like a book or something that you wrote that goes like deeper into that specifically, like the association of something? In your course, it
week number 1, that's all we deal with in the course, because before the idea of the course is you being able to remedy any health issues. I don't want you to depend on me to do it. I want to teach you how to do it for yourself. And that's week number 4. But to get you to that point to say, okay, I'm going to be consistent with remedying my health issues, we got to first deal with the cravings. Because getting on a plan, like you said, it's not easy. It's not easy to remedy cancer, but I have people in my community that has done it.
Yeah.
And I don't like to say, I didn't do it. By the way, I didn't do it. I want to make sure that's known. I didn't do it. They did it for themselves, and they have the passion to heal themselves, so they've been able to do it. Diabetes, high blood pressure, all of these things can be remedied depending on, and it can be regulated with food. Can be regulated with food, but people never make it to that level because they're fighting sweets. They're fighting sugar. Sugar is very addictive. It's 1 molecule away from crack cocaine. So it's very similar in its chemical structure. It's not the same thing, but it's very similar in its chemical structure. So people are highly addicted to it. I'm addicted to it as well. But I understand when I'm eating that pie, I have to create a negative relationship with it, right? So we eat it and we create a good relationship with it. Ooh, it makes me feel so good. It tastes so good. Ooh, grandma, you put your foot in this. No, you need to create a negative relationship with it. This is killing me. This is causing oxidation of my cells. This is causing cellular death, which leads to dehydration of the cells, which leads to inflammation in the joints, right? So I'm saying these things as I eat it. Over time, that helps you to create a negative bond to the food, and you can detach from it. You can do that. You can apply that to everything, to food, to people, to environments. You'll be able to detach from it easier.
That was really, really good. We can clap that up. That was good. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
So if I can deal with the cravings, right? So, and I think getting off, detaching from a craving, it just takes time of not doing it,
Correct.
right? But after we detach from the cravings, what's next?
Well, you want to first create boundaries around yourself and make sure you plan out how you will act, because once you become triggered, you create a response where you go to something that's familiar. So say, for instance, my trigger is getting into a traffic jam, right? That triggers stress in my body. First thing I want to do.
Pardon me, this water.
It's okay.
Just
He's
please,
like, yeah, I know I got
please
that
excuse
water.
me as I
taking a water break. I'll take
drink
one
this
too.
Essentia.
This moon jug over here.
I don't even want to drink this no more. I'm sorry. Put this back. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
You may have a trigger that causes you to eat things. You want to suppress that emotion. The body doesn't want to feel pain. The body wants to get you away from pain, right? So if you experience, remember, trauma is any stressful event. You get into a traffic jam and that's a trigger for you. You want to escape that pain. So you can't escape the traffic. You may be able to do it through food though, and it makes that traffic jam a little easier to sit through.
It does.
Right?
Actually.
So you have to realize, what are your triggers? Not only are we disassociating ourselves from the cravings, but what is the trigger that leads me to eating the craving? That's something we need to explore as well, so that you have a parameter of boundaries of how you would deal with those specific triggers. So understanding my triggers of what trigger my abandonment won't help me to heal it as well.
And how do we finally get on to the process of eating the right thing, so to speak?
It always starts with the emotions, but after you understand, hey, these are my triggers, I created these boundaries, the next thing you need to do is do a spiritual detox, right? So you go through this process, or I like to call it a spiritual ritual, where you do a spiritual bath, you do a dump list, you put everybody on notice that you're going through this transformation, so they understand how to communicate with you through this. You know, don't trigger you, don't become a trigger for me. You want to put everybody on notice, and the very next thing you want to do is understand how to eat. Right, so understanding yourself emotionally is one thing, but now we got to relearn how to eat, unlearn the old way and relearn the new way. Right, so we've been taught how to pair wine and cheese and all these things, but we're not taught how to pair our foods. You can't just eat everything together. That's why we get the itis, right? Inflammation of the digestive system. You don't want to do that. You should not have a sluggish feeling after eating. So pairing food correctly. Protein should be eaten with low starch, non-starch vegetables. Carbohydrates can be eaten in small amounts with protein, but mostly with low starch, non-starch vegetables. Fats need to be eaten with leafy greens for optimal digestion. So we then go through learning how to eat.
Got it.
And that's a learning curve in itself as well. But you can go in the grocery store and be able to put meals together based on meal pairing. And then the next thing you want to do, that's the foundation. If you're dealing with any health issues, then you add on the herbs. Get your food right before you add on the herbs. Like, I know you say you drink a sea moss, and I'm not going to judge you. But I would rather you focus on the foundation first before adding the herbs.
Also, sea moss isn't good?
Sea moss is great.
Oh,
sea moss is a great additive. You know,
and maybe it was the one I had. Maybe.
What did you have? Like the flavored one?
No, it was just terrible. It was in a jar. It was just, I don't know. I don't know what type. I don't know. The guy was like, "Yo, just try it," and it was
sea
the consistency
has like
of it.
It's from the sea, so it tastes kind of like, you know, like salty a little bit sometimes.
It tastes like it's from the sea.
Yeah, exactly. It's from the sea. So you got.
That's crazy. I never even made that connection. It was just crazy.
Yeah,
I ain't
it's
woke.
a seaweed, so from the sea, right? So the sea moss has like that ocean taste.
Yes,
so you
that's
gotta
exactly
add it
it.
to like applesauce, makes it like tones that down, or adding it to like strawberry puree or something, it tones it down. But if you eat it right at the jar and you're not used to that, it ain't gonna be a happy trip for you.
When I ate it, it created a negative relationship. Trying to educate somebody. All right, so you've also built a business around this.
Correct.
A really big business. And tell me how you did that. especially because the result isn't money. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe, I don't know.
Yes, so that came from, I never expected it to be as big as it is today, but I'm super, super grateful and appreciative to everybody that continues to support. And ultimately, I believe people want to just rally behind the mission that they can believe in, that they can actually see brings change. That's what a lot of our community tells us. And then once they try it, and then, you know, people are like, man, I used to give a complimentary 3-day detox a while back. People would get on that detox. I used to be like, I want you to believe that it works. So try this 3-day detox. And they came off that detox and they lost 15 pounds. And they've been trying to lose 15 pounds for the last 3 days. Yeah, it's waste though. It's not necessarily fat. It's a waste loss. So we help you to understand that you may have 20 pounds of poop sitting in your colon, right? So people go through sitting on the toilet sometimes for 15, 20 minutes, an hour, letting poop just run out. They're like, oh snap, this was inside of me. Yeah, this is the real deal.
Is that the same thing as getting a colonic?
A colonic is definitely something that I would love for you to add and continue to do, but it's a different experience. So colonic is water pressure going in the rectum and pulling the colon, the poop out there, laughing, pulling the feces out. But a detox is ingesting fiber to push your poop out. So it's two different things.
So a colonic, it pushes water up there. I thought they just like. So I'm not doing it anyway because I don't want anything.
No, you have to do it, David. I promise you, it's
absolutely nothing going up there ever.
And ever. That's the thing, though. We have to evolve from that way of thinking because your health depends on it.
I tried. So I tried that too. It was a
enema?
Not an enema. I did do that. That was weird. But you ain't have to like push it all the way up. And I didn't get it all the way up. It just sat in the bottom. That's crazy.
That's how it goes. I'm happy about this that you did that.
But I had a, what was it? What's the, it's like, sometimes they have to tie something around it to, you know what I'm talking about?
I have no
hemorrhoid? Was it a hemorrhoid?
Okay, so, you had to have a hemorrhoid removed. That's totally different.
No. I didn't. I thought I did though, because it was just a strange feeling, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So I went to the doctor, and it's crazy. Yeah, what's up with the judge-free zone? There's not a judge-free zone.
That's them over there.
So the doctor, she was like, "Yo, I have to see, so I have to push something up." So she
sit there. Put the scope in there to view. Okay, got you.
It didn't work out well.
It didn't work out.
No, because as soon as I feel it, she's like, "You're gonna feel a little pressure," and I felt it. I said, "Whoa, well, I don't like." No, she said, "But I have to." I said, "No," and she's like, "Well, the only alternative is we have to put you to sleep." And I had to set an appointment to do it, and I was gonna do it, and I just forgot. But yeah, it was nah.
But no, a colonic is a great. Anybody ever had a colonic? Okay, so you know it was a great experience, right? A great experience. But let me tell you, people have seen parasites come out during the colonic.
Reese, you ever did it?
You're going to do it. Reese, we're going to get Reese to do one.
I'm still young.
Listen, it does not matter your age, okay? You can get a colonic.
Let me ask this question. Have y'all ever done it? You ever done it? You?
Oh, please get one.
Why?
No, please get it. As long.
Yeah. Not okay. So not even being funny. Not even being funny. Have y'all ever had something in there like going the opposite way? Yeah, shit, man. Okay, we're not gonna put a camera on you. Okay, you can tell by somebody the way they answer. If they be like, I mean. So maybe somebody that has might be a little more comfortable because it's just a.
If you're going to get a colonic, please make sure they have an open-ended machine. That's the thing though. Open-ended machine is automatic and you sit there and it's very relaxing. I've had one. The very first one I had was I want to say horrible experience, but it was a manual one. So the man was there doing it manually. Man, we had boo-boo everywhere. Like that was. That one, his name is...
How much weight you lose? How much pounds of waist?
Well, maybe about 15.
15 pounds of waist in there.
Yeah. I mean, even with me being vegan, I had my first colonic after being vegan for maybe 3 years, and there was still a lot of poop in there. Still a lot. So, you know...
How much you lose when you did yours?
I had mine as a kid.
You was a kid. Okay.
Oh, you was a kid when you had. Oh yeah, do one now. Definitely a lot of weight's gonna come out.
You have one scheduled already? Oh wow.
Yes, I love to hear those type of things. After you do to get the colonic, it's very important to rehydrate and also take prebiotics, probiotics, because it cleans everything out of the colon. Right, it cleans everything out.
The fiber intake that you were saying does the same exact thing?
It can't do the same thing because there's water pressure.
Yeah.
Right. So there is stool. So you have a transverse colon. You have your colon is, let me just kind of draw it like this, right? It goes like that. So there may be poop way on this side that can't move up, come around and come down because maybe it's solidified. Maybe it's became hard plaque, and a water pressure can go in there, push it out through water pressure, like pressure washing a house can push it out through
and
water
you feel
pressure.
the water though in you.
Oh yeah. Imagine you ever had to poop so bad you couldn't find a toilet? That's how it feels. Because it fills up your whole colon with water and it brings it back out once the water comes out. One of the best things I ever done in my life.
It.
Best $100 I ever spent.
Is there any way to like, can they put you to sleep or numb you?
They're not putting you to sleep for no colonic. No. It's a 45-minute thing.
I can't. Oh. All right. So So the fiber one, okay.
It's a good start.
I can eat and
yes.
do a little.
Yeah, if you like to do grapefruit, that was what my 3-day complimentary cleanse was. It was 3-day grapefruit and water. And that's what I said, Rick Ross, you need to get on this too because you need to clean the colon out. But it's grapefruit and water. You
Did he do
peel the
it?
grapefruit. He started it. You know, we seeing how he doing. He definitely agreed to do it. And I talked to Alex. Alex said we're gonna make sure it gets done. But you peel the grapefruit, and once you peel the grapefruit, you'll notice a lot of white tissue around the grapefruit. Do not peel that off. You need that because that's the fiber. It's best to blend it up. Remember, I said blending it helps the body absorb it faster. So you blend it up. When you blend it, there's going to be white foam at the top. That foam is the insoluble fiber. You ingest all of that. Do one every 2 hours. If you do that for 3 days, you're going to be shit. You're gonna be doing it
for 3 days.
Now it depends as well, because some people get on the cleanse. I want you to just have to give you the full disclaimer. You may get constipated if you're a meat eater and you're not used to eating that much fiber. So give the detox some time. If you notice, hey, I'm on day number 2, I was almost day number 3, and I haven't had a bowel movement, your body's not used to that fiber. So drink at least a gallon of water as well to help the body move along the feces. And then some people, depending on your lifestyle, like when I first did the detox, on that 3rd day, I felt like I got hit by a Mack truck, like I had the flu, right? That is not the detox doing that to you. That is your body purging the toxins. Right? So people have different reactions. People may sweat, body release toxins through sweat, through feces, and through mucus. So you may have mucus come out your nose, mucus come out your butt, mucus come out your vagina. Like it could get crazy. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. It depends on each person's lifestyle. But it's better to have it in than out.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Out than in.
That's real. That's real. Let me ask you, for a mature audience, sexual benefits of vegan for men and women. Obviously, men, there's only like really, one thing that can happen, but for women.
I want to talk about the men first because, some of us, 30, 40 years old and the erection is down here when it should be up here, right? So that's something that improves, of course, over time. But for women, it's more of a reproductive health, dealing with fertility. I see a lot of women there dealing with that. And
also, that helps with fertility.
Correct.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
it can. So we would create a meal plan specifically for that. So why is there fertility issues? Is there a hormonal issue, an endocrine system issue? We deal with that, and we create a food foundation plan. Then you create an herbal plan. Then you create a supplement plan. They do all those things together. But the benefits, of course, increase libido, increase vaginal secretions, slippery slope type of thing. For the woman, got that going on. And it decreases vaginal dryness. But those are some things I personally noticed.
Gotcha.
And arousal as well, easier to get aroused. And some people like, the Hennessy do that for me. That's what they tell me. But let me tell you, over time, that Hennessy, those liquors, all that sugar actually creates vaginal dryness over time. So we're talking about, I'm not saying one drink is going to do it, but if you're drinking every weekend for 10 years or 5 years, that is the long-term effects.
Wow. It's a really good conversation. And I feel...
Yes, David Shannon's going to get a colonic. Everybody clap for that. Yay!
Man, I don't know. And it's just...
I promise you, once you do it, you're going to be like, I am super happy I ever did it. You're going to be telling the morning meetup, everybody go get it now. Let's like meet up there for the morning meetup. I don't
even like my wife getting that out my back pocket. Don't get my wallet out my back. I'm like, whoa, what you doing? I am really, really sensitive.
I understand. I definitely understand. It's a mindset.
It's uncomfortable. Just that one time where the lady had to like look around, it was so uncomfortable, and I'm like, I don't like this pressure.
It's gonna be pressure. It's gonna be pressure. But once it's in. The water fills up.
Okay, let me ask you: how far in do they go, or do they just kind of on the outside?
3 inches, about 3 inches. It's about 3 inches. And they give you lubricant. You can use shea butter. You can use aloe vera gel. Sometimes they have a lubricant. And trust me, once you get on there and you feel it, I promise you, that's not even going to matter. I promise you.
I probably do. Like, I'm sure, because I got this little fat area right here. Mm-hmm. And it's probably waste that's been there for a while, right?
Correct.
And you think it'll smooth out my stomach?
Let me tell you how you
just say yes. I need an incentive.
Yeah. Yes, it'll smooth out
your stomach. I'm going to get a 6-pack.
But what I want you to do is go home. I want you to look in your eye. If you pull your eyelids down and you know this yellowing at the bottom of the white, the sclera of the eye, that's a sign of waste in the colon.
Joe, hold me down. Do you see any?
Let me see. A little bit in the corner on that eye. Yes, I see it.
Not a lot, though.
Not a lot. Not a whole lot. No.
Let's wait till it gets a little more yellow. I'll do it. Okay, I gotta do a quick. Thank you so much. This is a very, very enlightening conversation. I gotta do a quick commercial, and then I'm at you. Let everybody know how we can jump on this, because I might jump on it with our audience, man. Maybe.
Yes, the detox.
What's your detox?
So I would want you to do a 10-day. Right,
Explain
I want you to do a 10-day. So it's a 10-day detox. And the reason why I want you, let me not say that.
Hold on, let me just get my commercial out of the way. Join the morning meetup. You want to come on the morning meetup?
Oh yes, let's do it.
TheMorningMeetup.com, the only organization that gathers every single day for the betterment of entrepreneurs. If you are an entrepreneur, you make under $250,000, you have a job and a dream, you're trying to bridge that gap. There's a bunch of information out there, but that's not the only thing that's going to take you to the next level. You need community. And that is what our organization does. We provide a community of accountability. Like we might get in there and we might try to do it together, depending on what you tell me it's going to be like, okay? And we'll discuss that. But join at themorningmeetup.com. Check us out. I'm on the call every single morning. I love to talk to you, love to coach you, and I love to be in your network just like you're in mine. So go to themorningmeetup.com. Okay. So explain the detox.
Well, then, since you're going to do it with the audience, I recommend you do the 3 days.
I didn't say I'm going to.
Since you're going to, I'm going to speak that. Let me
hear you out first.
Fruition.
Okay.
Right. So the 3 day, it depends, right? So 3 day, you're just doing grapefruit and water, but it's a shorter duration. The 10 day is a longer duration. You eat more amounts of foods, but you're still eating mostly raw foods. And you have to do enemas on the detox, but you get more of a full detox effect if you do the 10 day. The 3 day is kind of like to get you started, see what it can do, but you're only eating grapefruit and water and nothing else.
So you eat the grapefruit, not just juice.
Eat it and you blend it. Okay, you have it's a.
That don't seem bad.
That's not bad. That one's not bad. Yeah. So it's quick, fast. 3 days, you up and you out of there. 10
Why
days.
not any other fruits and stuff?
Well, I like grapefruit because it is one of the most fruits that's higher in soluble fiber, so it's going to get you the results quicker.
Is there a particular amount that you have to eat, or you can't eat anything but that?
On the day,
like how many grapefruit are you supposed to eat?
I believe it's maybe like 25 to 30 grapefruit in that 3 days. That's how much I have you buy. Yeah, it's a lot. So it's a quick flush. It's getting in and out.
So, what's that like?
Yeah, you eating
8 a day.
Yeah, you eating about 8 a day. Between eating and blending plus the gallon of water.
That ain't bad, because you are gonna get hungry. Mm-hmm. And can you put anything on it?
Everybody always asks me that. Why do they ask me that? I don't mind you putting anything on it as long as it's not
good.
Salt.
All right, cool. It's not good. Okay, good.
As long as it's not salt and pepper, because salt dehydrates the body, and black pepper causes irritants in the colon. So
what are you gonna say that? I was gonna say sugar. We good.
No, not sugar either. Let me make sure I say that. No sugar, because that's gonna dehydrate you.
I thought salt and pepper.
You're gonna be bloated. You're gonna be like, Arisha, you told me to do this detox. I put sugar on it, now I'm bloated. You're gonna be bloated.
Honey. Agave. No, agave. I don't like that.
You see that, right? He wants to make it sweet. Why he want to make it sweet?
Oh, my childhood trauma. Oh, that's great. That is actually, there's something to that.
Mm-hmm, I know.
Dang, that's deep.
Yeah, so the 3 day, I would say everybody do the 3 day group.
I can't even think of nothing else I would want to put on it other than sugar and honey. I've got problems. You see that, baby? She like, yeah.
Help you release those, grow from them. It's an experience, but they have to control you.
But a grapefruit is kind of sweet itself anyway.
Bitter, not more sweet. Depends on what you get. It's more bitter. Some people say it's sweet, but I think it's more bitter.
What would you recommend that you can put on it to help?
Maybe you want to put like a little bit of cinnamon on it, a little bit of nutmeg, give it a little different little flavor. That's pretty much all I would recommend that you put on it.
I rock with that.
Yeah, you can do a little cinnamon, a little nutmeg, a little sprinkle.
That's something I could do with the community. I don't know if I'm committed. You said I do got to do an enema. That means put something up there, right?
That for the 3.
You know what people are gonna think? They're gonna think that I'm homophobic or, so people who are in that lifestyle, they look at people who are like, I don't want nothing on my butt. They're like, wow, you think you're going to like it, huh? You don't want to be, you know what I mean?
That is true. People do believe that. And I do see that that's the reason why a lot of people don't want to do it as well. But I can guarantee you it's for your health. It's for your health. It's not even about sexual preference or anything. It's just for your health. Getting the poop out of your colon because you don't want that sitting in there for years and years and years. You're going to have all type of tapeworms, parasites. Do you know that 3 billion people a year have a parasite infection? 200,000 people.
All right, thank you so much for coming on the show. No, keep going. I'm sorry.
200,000 people a year die from a parasite infection.
Dang.
Right, so it's serious. We got to get it out. I've had people do colonics and like whole tapeworms came out. Right, so tapeworms are not as common, but many parasites are. But I've had people do these things and they like, yo, can I send you a picture of my poop real quick? I'm like, okay, sure.
That weird.
Like, so you may see mucus, you may see all these different things. You got it. And the enema on a 3 day is not required, but it is recommended. On a 10 day, you have to do it.
Okay.
But if you get a colonic at the end of that 3 day, you're gonna be total new, rejuvenated. You're gonna be a new day.
I gotta man up, man. I just got like stuff that I don't like. I just don't like. Like getting in a pool if it's not like warm. I'm the person. I just don't want to like jump in. I'm just one of those people.
Just pull the Band-Aid off. Just go ahead and jump straight into it. Don't think about it. Don't overthink it. Do it.
I need some sort of incentive. You gonna go, Reese?
Yep, Reese gonna do it
Reese,
too.
We'll go together.
What?
Oh, hands! We on today was like, come on, Reese, you can do this. Because Joe is already gonna do it. And he's cool with it. You're comfortable.
I do 3 days with you.
Yeah, the 3 days. That's why I said most people like 3 days is not bad, but you only getting grapefruit.
I'm talking about the colonic, but the 10-day, okay.
Only thing I would add to it for you, I want you to do that mucus buster, and I want you to do.
What's the mucus buster?
The mucus buster is you get a shot glass, a double shot glass, and you fill it up with lime juice, fresh lime juice, and you take it like a shot. That removes all the mucus in the respiratory tract, brings up the mucus in the stomach. You cough it up over time.
I can do that. I can do that today.
Yeah, you can do that one. Everybody loves that, and I want you to do the liver kidney flush. So those are the two things.
Which one's that?
Liver kidney flush is.
Do you have all these like in your?
Yes,
is it in the course?
The guide. So when I give you the guide, you'll be able to just follow the schedule. I took all the thinking out for you, and you just have to follow the schedule. Look at the time. What am I supposed to consume, and eat it at that time. Cool.
All right, I do got to ask you: is there a way that my audience can get a discount? I don't know what we'll put a link below, but. Can they get a discount?
Yes, they can.
Okay, cool. Make the code social proof. My thing is, I just want anybody that watches the podcast, if they're following the person, social proof just works all the time. So make the code social proof.
Yes, we could do that.
But Joe, let's write it down and make sure we get our a link to put below. But thank you so much. This was very enlightening. It was very enlightening. I learned a lot. I need to like do more inner work. So I can actually,
that's
for sure, actually commit.
I want you to really do the inner work though.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do that. Yeah, I will. Let me ask you last question. What do you think the inner work looks like?
Inner work looks like, first thing I have you do is a dump list where we divide mental, spiritual, and physical. Right. So the mental area will be what toxic thoughts do you think about yourself, others, in the world? Because most people say, I ain't got no problems. I can look at your plate, you do got problems. So I'm gonna help you organize those problems, right? So you draw 2 lines on a sheet of paper, you have 3 sections. Mind section, what toxic thoughts do I think about myself, others, in the world? Spirit section, what toxic feelings do I harbor, right? Body section, what toxic foods do I eat? What toxic environments am I around? Answer those questions. That'll show you all of the emotional stress, spiritual stress, and physical stress that you're dealing with. Once you do that, then you know where you need to start.
Okay. I don't think I can eat around you, though. You'll be like,
I'll be looking at your plate. I don't do that,
mashed
though.
potatoes.
And that's how my family is. They're like, don't come up here analyzing my plate.
Right.
Like, you know what? I don't do that.
Alfredo. Interesting. No, but thank you so much. This is the stuff that we need to know because we can't go out and build a business if we're sick, if we're unhealthy. Yeah, so if you will, one, let everybody know how they can find you. Just click the link below. There will be a link where you guys can take advantage of, we'll have a couple of different
Yes, we'll have the detox as well as the course. If you really want that full transformation, you want to learn how to remedy any health issue, you want to learn how to help your children, you want to learn how to read the body, all the things that I talked about, face mapping and all that's in the course. But if you'd like, hey, I just want to get started and see what this can do for me, or I just need to lose weight, I'm trying to fill into my dress from last year, definitely start with the detox, but that full transformation happens in the course.
I love it. Okay, so there'll be a link below. Make sure you use promo code Social Proof. And so let everybody know how they can find you and how they can how they can like follow you, and close us out with a word of wisdom.
Okay. You can follow us on Instagram, I Am Surviving Vegan, YouTube, all social platforms, TikTok, same name, I Am Surviving Vegan. Make sure you follow a real account, not a little shady, janky account. So I'm Surviving Vegan. But the word of wisdom for today is, you are only as good as the choices that you make today. Don't worry about what you did yesterday or what's going to come in the future. Practice gratitude. That's how you remain grounded.
I love it. Listen, we can't close it out no better than that. Do yourself a favor, okay? Follow I Am Surviving Vegan. Click the link below. Let's do some different things with our health, okay? I'm with y'all. We're going to do this together, all right? And go get you some social proof, meaning go build something, then come back to your community and teach other people how you did it. It's the only way our community grows. We are out of here. Peace. You just watched this whole episode. If you like this episode, watch this one right here. Click right here. You're going to like this one if you like the one you just watched. Check it out.